Welcome back to PrepAquatics.com. I'm Skylar King. As always, you can email me, Skylar@PrepAquatics.com. You can follow me on Twitter @SkylarPrep. Coming off a state meet weekend where it pretty much, it played out for the trophies the way we expected. Although, New Trier did give us what I said all season I wanted, which was, some suspense on Saturday. And it was a 4.5 point meet based on prelim seed points going into Saturday. And, you got to give Nequa a ton of credit because they came out and really performed well the entire day. I mean, New Trier came out and, made a statement right off the bat. They already had the state record from Friday, came out and lowered it by a half a second on Saturday. And, all four of those legs were great. But Novaline and Gridley, 24-8 and 27-6 right out of the gate. I mean, that's open water for the rest of the race. I mean, they were at 2 seconds, 100 yards in, and so I mean that was easy money for New Trier, and that's a relay that at the beginning of the year I picked to win, and then Novaline wasn't available for most of the season, and they didn't always put their top relay together, and it was hard to get a feel for it, but it was one that you knew was capable of this. Obviously, to me, the big surprise was that Mattia ended up in the bottom. Now they came back and went a little faster on Saturday, but still not as fast as I thought they could go. Nobody was going to beat New Trier. But time-wise, I figured that Mattia had the ability to probably be where Nequa ended up, which was 42 low. But that's also where Nequa started their march to saying, we're not going down today. Is they moved up in the medley by dropping over a second from Friday to Saturday in their case, and getting second place in the medley. Steggy did what she needed to do in her individual races, and she showed up in a big way on the relays coming out of the 500 free. And it was a tough weekend for the seniors trying to win things. Wagner was runner up to Steggy twice, and she did it with there was no. I never saw any sort of pouting or getting down on herself over those runner-up finishes. She couldn't have, at least on the surface, couldn't have had a better attitude about it. But between Steggy twice, between the New Trier sophomores, it was really, it showed you what a solid, a reliable contributor that Grace Cooper's been over all these years, because she just showed up workmanlike and delivered her 2 state titles. That 100 free got a lot closer than me or a lot of other people thought. When you look at the work that Novaline did on that second 50, she was almost a double state champion, and she's obviously going to be a big favorite to be a double state champion next year. And that to me was the story. The whole day is just how well everybody that was in contention swam. There was early. I mean, Oswego just rocked and rolled the medley. They had a 12th place in the 200 free, and Lauren Wiley goes from 12th to 7th, and then Sidorski goes from 12th to 8th in the IM, and their medley moved up to 9th. they were just picking up points left and right. And for a while there, it actually looked like they might make a run at second place. But New Trier was just too good throughout the day for that to happen. And when it came down to the end, it was a 6-point meet, which meant New Trier was going to have to win the 400 relay, and then if Nequa got second, it would have been a tie meet. Anything else, New Trier would have won, or New Trier was going to have to beat Nequa by 3 spots to tie, second to fifth, so on and so forth. And it just didn't happen. I thought on Friday, that Nequa had a lot more to give. Right off the bat, I thought that Rachel Steggy could be a full second faster. She was 7/10 faster. Tiffany Rowan was also a little faster from 50 flat to 49.9. I thought Czak's 51 leadoff was a really impressive swim. And then Harder 52.7. Again, you don't have to do that much when you got 51 and 249s on there. You don't have to have a 50 flat as your number 4. But that they still didn't beat Oswego's time from prelims. And I was shocked that Nequa was able to beat Oswego. I thought that was a relay that Oswego was definitely going to win. And so, in New Trier, to their credit, they dropped a second and a half. And so that just goes back to how great all these contending teams swam. Mattia dropped 8/10 in that 400 relay. And it'll be interesting next year to see what a lot of these girls end up swimming. When you look at Stone, basically everyone else is graduating, and so she's obviously going to swim a second individual next year. Probably go back to the 50, and why at this point mess with Novaline in the 100 free as good as she is. She was this past weekend, and she probably was the one that I was most pleasantly surprised with, just because she was hurt for a lot of the year. Caitlin Gridley, she's super gifted, overall, but specifically as a breaststroker. And I was not shocked that she dominated. I thought that Wagner, because of her talent level, she'd gone the breaststroke, that she would have given her a go, and maybe even beat her. But I actually, in hindsight, I don't think that's true. I don't think Wagner could have gone double in the breaststroke. I think she probably could have gone a 1. And so, New Trier looks like, and Nequa's got a lot coming back, but they do lose Parkinson, which is big individually and for the 2 relays that she's going to be missing off of. They lose Harder off the 400 relay. You got to think that, especially with the depth that they have to fill in spots, even though they're losing Joelle Lohr, you got to think New Trier is the favorite for next year. And Nequa might be second. The talent really filled in nicely, and there were some races that were just so fast that I wasn't expecting. Like the 500 free, everyone that made it was under 5 minutes, and the 400 free, 12th was really weak at 31, but everyone else. Or 32 actually, but everyone else was right at under 30, and so it just goes to show you that there's always kind of a course correction, that there's going to be people that show up and really perform well that make the state meet. In most years, a lot deeper than you expect, even when you lose a big senior class like we did. It was a bummer for Hinsdale to not have Kit Schneider all weekend. Cut her finger on a razor blade that was in her bag. Apparently in the lead up. But Hinsdale's obviously a team that should be better next year. With the freshman class they had and Melanie Quinones. But there are there's going to be some changing of the guard next year. Oswego is still going to be maybe even a top 5 team, but it'd be shocking, if they trophied again when you're losing 32 points and what Cooper means to those relays. But that sophomore class is excellent, and so if they all raise their level and they get obviously a lot more contributions in the sprint free department from people other than Molly Lubner, they could be right back there, and winning that third place trophy. Lions, this was I think this was a great state meet for them. This was the first time in 4 years that Cal Dunn has been in school that they've been top 6 in all 3 relays. Cal Dunn won the IM. And they found themselves, a bona fide star in Emily Clausen, that's going to be their number 1 going forward. Eleanor McMean is back, and they'll probably be able to put together at least some bottom 6 relays around those two. The teams that are going to be hurting next year are compared to what they've been the last few are St. Charles North. Big senior class, obviously led by Megan Armstrong. I'll be shocked if Naperville Central can go top 10 again without a lot of help from freshmen losing Puccini. Plainfield North, incredible state meet by Plainfield North, by far their best, ever. And Davis and Frankowiak have been around scoring for years, but this is the first time they've really showed up and put all their best performances together at the state meet. And so I give that coaching staff and those kids a ton of credit for how well they swam. Then you have teams like Ignatius is really a mix. They do have some kids coming back, but they lose Schimmel, they lose Tiv, and there's definitely some points that they're gonna have to and relay spots they're gonna have to compensate for. Rosary is a team that next year should be better. They should be thinking about being a top 5 team again. They got 6th this year, and they should be better than Mattia next year. They should be better than LT next year. Oswego again, because they have Molly Lubner, is a team that they might be duking it out with still in the top 5. But I think if Hinsdale Central was 11th, that's the team outside the top 10 that I think could be top 5 next year, just because of how talented the freshman class was. Now they've all got experience, and they should be that much better. And Anna Grubberger didn't even score. She'd been top 6 2 years ago. She was bottom 6 last year. Doesn't even score this year. And so they need to replace her on the relays, but they're not losing direct points like the 32 that Oswego's losing with Cooper. Cooper's obviously going to be senior swimmer of the year. She's the only senior that won 2 events. Cal Dunn won 1. But it usually comes down to those individual races. This is that situation where to me it's the exact opposite of last year, where there is a lot of returners coming back next year, and a lot of important ones. When you talk about Stone, when you talk about the new Trier girls, and you talk about Steggy, a ton of state champions are returning, and Stone's probably, like I said, probably going to go back to a second individual race. That it shapes up as a really fast state meet next year. And so while I said this was going to be a really slow state meet, and it turned out to not be, we'll see. We'll see if this really fast state meet next year comes to fruition. And the we got to start giving the eulogy for these pools that have hosted these state meets for all these years. Love them or hate them, there's been a lot of big moments, boys and girls, at New Trier, and in all likelihood that was it. Final state meet of any kind for high school at New Trier should be the same for Evanston this February, and so I personally really appreciate what these two schools have done over the years and provided us a chance to see the best showcase in Illinois swimming every year. And for New Trier, for their girls, I thought it was a great way for them to go out. This is in my remembrance maybe the best state. Obviously they've won meets, but I think this is the best state meet performance of any New Trier girls team since I've been covering high school swimming in Illinois. There was really nothing that they did all weekend where I said I was expecting more out of that kid or out of that relay. They just exceeded expectations all the way through, and they should be very excited about next year because of everything they got coming back. Not just those sophomores, but Pelzic was coming off a double score, and it's going to be at a different pool. They're never going to have home pool advantage again if all things work out the way most people hope. But that was a great way to close it down for the Trevians. So congratulations to Nequa on the repeat, New Trier, Oswego on those trophies, and congratulations to all the state champions and even those of you that are just first-time medalists. If you're not a senior, use that as motivation. Go out, get even better, and be ready for next high school season when you have a chance to even take it up another level. As always, you can email me, skylarprepaquatics.com. You can follow me on Twitter @SkylarPrep, and we'll be back next fall discussing a new state venue, but a lot of the same teams competing for that state title.